أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه وبركاته عليه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وأحسن هدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. We continue Friday, March the 29th, 2019, with the Gregorian calendar, which coincides with the month of Rajab, rather the 23rd of Rajab, Aam 1440, the year 1440 after the Hijrah, the migration of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. We started in Buloogh Al-Maraam, Kitab al-Siyam. As we know, Ramadan is not too far. It's about approximately a month and a week, if I'm not mistaken. So it's best to prepare one for the month of Ramadan, and he's upon ilm, he's upon knowledge, as that is the best way for one to prepare himself. For one to be in a state where he's upon basira, upon insight, and upon knowledge of his affairs, especially the affairs of his religion. As likewise, we do not want to worship Allah ta'ala upon jahl. As you'll find that a lot of people draw close to Allah ta'ala upon ignorance, upon jahl. And we know that this is dispraiseworthy, and this is what we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every rak'ah. Where we ask Allah ta'ala غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِينَ. As we know, وَلَا الضَّالِينَ, those who went astray were the Christians, who the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had clearly said, and he mentioned the authentic hadith, if you go back to Tafsir Ibn Kathir and other than them, that he said that وَلَا الضَّالِينَ is speaking about the Christians because they draw close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon jahl. يتقربون إلى الله تبارك وتعالى عن جهل ويعبدون الله عن جهل. That they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon ignorance. Rather, they draw close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon haram. You'll find that they draw close to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala upon unlawful affairs. For example, you'll find them that they draw close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon music. You'll find that they sing, they have choirs, and they make music a part of their ibadah in their churches. And you'll find that we know, even in the Sharia of Isa, that he did not legislate for them to sing songs or to make music or what have you, or make choirs. All these from the muhdathat and the innovative practices of the Christians, of them trying to draw close to Allah upon something Allah did not legislate. And we know that affair is very dangerous, because on the day of resurrection, all of it is unacceptable and it will be rejected. So we said, Ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, the Kitab al-Siyam, in preparation for Ramadan, which is coming, we started off the chapter by explaining the linguistic meaning of Siyam. We started the chapter by linguistically explaining some of the ta'rifat, or some of the definitions of Siyam, linguistically and in the Kitab and Sunnah. We explained the meaning of it linguistically. That we said last class, that al-Siyam, lughatan, that it means what? It means mujarrad al-imsak, or al-imtina' an shay. It means to refrain or abstain from something. That's the only meaning of it linguistically. We're not talking about the meaning Kitab and Sunnah. We're talking about the linguistic meaning. And the linguistic meaning, as we know, comes in the book of Allah ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about what happened with Maryam bint Imran radiyallahu anha, that she mentioned, or that Allah ta'ala mentioned about her, She said, إِنِّي نَظَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ سَوْمًا فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنْسِيًّا. It was the beginning of the part of the ayah. It said, فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنًا فَإِمَّا تَرِيَنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدًا فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَظَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ سَوْمًا فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنْسِيًّا. Allah Ta'ala says about Maryam that she said, verily I took a vow to Rahman Soma. Is it to fast, abstain from food and drink, or just to remain silent? The type of fast that she was speaking about was just the linguistic meaning she took a vow to Allah to remain silent. As it says in the end part of the ayah, فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنْسِيًّا. I will not speak to anyone of mankind. I will not speak to anyone. So that's to show that what? The siyam linguistically just means to refrain or abstain. As you'll have even poetry, even in linguistic meaning, where some of the poet used to say in the back in the past, he says, وَخَيْلٌ صَائِمَةٌ وَأُخْرَى تحت الأعجاج. وأخرى تحت الأعجاج. ما معنى الأعجاج؟ غبار. تحت الأعجاج. وأخرى تعلقه اللجمة. It says in one of the poetries, I think it's in Al-Lugha. He says, وَخَيْلٌ صَائِمَةٌ وَأُخْرَى تَحْتَ الْعَجَاجِ. He says that one of the khayr, or the riding beasts, or if you want to say those horses that people use, or they used to utilize, notice it said sa'ima. Sa'ima, meaning here, doesn't mean it's not eating or drinking. No, it means it's staying still. It's not moving. Meaning it's abstaining from what? Haraka. It's abstaining from moving. So the linguistic meaning was utilized here instead of the meaning that we're acclimated to using in the Kitab and Sunnah, right, everyone? So it's talking about the linguistic meaning. So the horse here is just refraining from what? From moving. That's all. He said in the poetry, he says, خَيْلٌ صَائِمَةٌ وَأُخْرَى تَحْتَ الْعَجَاجِ. One horse was what? Was still, wasn't moving. And the other one was under the dust, meaning that it was going out, it was moving. It was going out, it was what? Mobile, and it was moving, and it was racing, and it was doing a lot of haraka, it was doing a lot of movement. So that's to clearly show that the linguistic meaning of siyam just means what? It means to refrain, to abstain, to show here what? It showed that the meaning of, as we talked about last class, that it just means to abstain or to refrain. It doesn't matter whether it's speech, it doesn't matter whether it's eating, or it doesn't matter whether it's movement, it doesn't matter what it is. That's the linguistic meaning. We talked about last class, what everyone? The meaning of fasting as far as in the Kitab and Sunnah. We talked about that last class. We said that meaning of siyam was number one, was what everyone? What did we say? Tafadal. You're on the right track. Tafadal. What was you saying? That's the first thing that one needs to put in the ta'rif is a ta'abbud lillah. A ta'abbud lillah. Tafadal. Exactly. It's the same thing. It's to draw closer worship. التعبد لله بالإمساك عن جميع المفطرات. الإمساك أو التعبد لله بالإمساك. I'm sorry. بالإمساك means to worship Allah, draw closer to Allah, or to single out Allah in His worship. To single out Allah Ta'ala in His worship by abstaining from food and drink. And the rest of affairs that what? And the rest of remaining of affairs that break your fast. We'll talk about this inshallah. Because a lot of people think it's just food and drink. Food and drink is not the only thing that breaks your fast. There's other things that break your fast besides food and drink. As we'll discuss inshallah. From the time when everyone, of when the sun rises all the way up to when the sun sets. That's the first definition we gave. So the meaning of siyam as far as in Kitab and Sunnah. We're not talking about the linguistic meaning anymore. We're talking about the meaning in the Kitab and Sunnah. Is that as well al-imsak عن الأكل والشرب وعن سائر المفطرات. من طلوع الفجر إلى غروب الشمس. It's to refrain and abstain from eating and drinking, and the rest of the affairs and the rest of the matters that break your fast. And we'll discuss, inshallah. You can let him run if he wants to run. Oh, okay. Okay. From the time when the sun comes up, which is the time of Fajr, all the way up to when the sun sets, meaning the time for Maghrib. طيب. We also said another definition. What did we say, everyone? There was another different definition we gave, especially with the great Imam Ibn Fawzan that he mentioned, حفظ الله ورعاه وطال الله في عمره بالأعمال الصالحة. تفضل. What did we say? أحسنت. Another ta'rif or definition you'll find that Ahl Ilm give for the meaning of Siyam, as far as they say, istilahan in the Kitab al-Sunnah. The other meaning is a ta'abbud lillah, drawing close to Allah by singling Him out with an intention. With the intention of what? Of refraining. From refraining, what do we say? The affairs that break your fast, to abstain from the affairs that break your fast, or the things that break your fast, that are either hissiya or ma'nawiyya, that are either tangible or intangible. We'll explain it, inshallah. Either tangible or intangible. Tangible meaning that you can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. Intangible meaning something you cannot see, but it does affect your fast. Such as, for example, sins. There's a lot of people think that fasting is just abstaining from food and drink, in the meaning of food and drink, but a lot of people don't abstain from the most hardest and most difficult of affairs while you're fasting, which is to abstain from dhunub, to abstain from sins. Because those affairs have a tremendous impact upon your fast. Such as ghiba and namima and looking at haram and looking at things that are not permissible, all this would diminish your reward to the point as if you didn't fast. And that is from the affairs in which a lot of people think that, or you will find that a lot of people think that fasting is just restricted to abstaining from food and drink, and that's it. Oh, I'm good. I didn't eat the drink for today. I'm all right. No. What is the most hardest of affairs, which you'll find that a lot of people are heedless of and inadvertent of, is that matter, which is the sins and the evil actions that one does at the time or during the time he's fasting. And that is what they call mufattirat, as we're going to discuss, inshallah, ma'nawiyya. Those type of mufattirat that break your fast that are intangible, meaning you do not see it or feel it or touch it, but it's still what? It's still there, and it has an impact on the reward of your fast. To the point where it can affect it to the point as if one did not fast at all. It can diminish his reward, and to the point, like we said, as if he did not fast at all. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So that's what we'll discuss, inshallah. The meaning of all those different definitions is going to come. Don't worry. All that's going to come in the chapter. طيب. We'll also discuss that we said that fasting starts at the time of Fajr. Depending on what country you're in, of course. Usually the majority of people do not go by 2 adhans here. But if he was in a Muslim country, some of them actually call 2 adhans. One about approximately maybe about 40 minutes before the actual adhan comes in, meaning the second adhan, which is the true time for Fajr. You'll find that in certain countries that they give you another adhan before that. So a person, does he start his fast with the first adhan or the second, if he was living in a Muslim country? With the second, not the first. The second is just a warning, just to get up, to prepare yourself. If you want to pray witr, if you want to pray tahajjud, or if you want to pray, or if you want to eat your sahur, if you want to eat your pre-dawn meal, that is the warning to let one know to start it. To wake up and start your what? Eating your pre-dawn meal in preparation for the second adhan, which is the actual time for Fajr. So that's what we talked about. When we will discuss all this is going to come, inshallah. This is what we discussed last class. طيب. As we also discussed in regards to how Siyam was of different marahil. مرت عليه عدة مراحل وثلاث مراحل. As we also discussed during the time of the Message of Allah, we're going to get in the tafsir of it. Don't worry, all this is going to come. We just gave a little brief glimpse of how the stages that passed by during the time of the Message of Allah ﷺ, from when it started all the way up to what it is now. We said that firstly, Siyam was upon a takhyir. كان الصيام على التخيير فإما أن يكون الشخص صائما أو مطعما إما أن يصوم وإما أن يطعم ولكن الأمر كان راجع إليه هو باختياره هو. So that the affair, number one, started upon what they call a takhyir, meaning the person had the choice. That was the first stage in Siyam, when it first started, as we talked about. So the first stage, or the first marhala was what, everyone? Was upon a person choosing. It was upon the alternative. He could either fast or he could feed an impoverished person, and that would suffice for him. That was the first stage. The second one was what? Then we talked about the second stage. The second stage of how Siyam evolved, or how the stages progressed until it became what it is now, as we know. So the first stage was upon it being what? Being based upon your own choice, whether or not you wanted to fast, or as fasting was basically mustahab. That it was what? It was highly recommended. It was highly recommended. And not only was it highly recommended, but we also said that it was what? The person could fast, or he could what? Or he could feed an impoverished person. That was the first stage. As I'll bring the details. Don't worry, it's going to come, inshallah. That was the first stage. The second stage, al-marhalat al-thaniya, is when a person, or during the time of the Message of Allah sallallahu that it went from easy to very difficult. Very difficult. Where they would start their fast, instead of after Fajr, used to start after Isha. Yes. So it went from easy to difficult, then to moderate. So a person used to fast, they would start their fast after Al-Isha. That was when a person had to start their fast. Yes, don't worry, I'll get into it, don't worry, inshallah. If you go back to the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, what he mentions, especially the ayat where it said, فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ, to the end of the ayat. Well, excuse me, let me go before that. عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَخْتَانُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَعَفَى عَنْكُمْ فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. We'll go back to the tafsir of the ayah. It's going to come, inshallah. Don't worry. But anyway, speaking about the ayah, you'll find the second marhala, or the second stage of Siyam, is that a person will fast from Isha all the way to Maghrib. From Al-Isha all the way to Maghrib. And he cannot eat or drink if he went to sleep. If he went to sleep after Maghrib, he cannot eat or drink. Nor can he be intimate with his wife or anything. If he went to sleep, khalas, he has to start his Siyam again. So it's based upon the fact that he had the opportunity to eat and drink from Maghrib till Isha, to be intimate with his wife, Maghrib and Isha, and if he went to sleep, all these things were impermissible. If he went to sleep. So that means he would have to start his Siyam over again after Isha. As this happened to one of the Sahabi, or one of the Sahaba, and firstly it happened to Umar al-Khattab, where Umar al-Khattab fell into being intimate with his wife. He fell into being intimate with his wife, and I think it was after Isha. He fell into being intimate with his wife after Isha, and there was another Sahabi who fell out due to the fact that he didn't eat and drink from the previous night. And he was working in a field of crops on his mazra'ah, and as a result of it, he fell out. To the point when he wanted to break his fast, he was so tired, he fell asleep, and his wife said to him, خَيْبَةً لَكَ نِمْتِ. يعني نمت قبل العشاء وطالما أن الأمر كذلك فلا بد أن تجدد الصيام وتبدأ الصيام مباشرة إلى اليوم التالي إلى المغرب في المساء وفي الليلة التالية. So that's what now happened to him. She said to him, خَيْبَةً لَكَ نِمْت. As it says in the narration, he says, destruction to you. You messed yourself up. You went to sleep, which was to show that the actual second stage of Siyam was what? After one went to sleep, he cannot what? Eat or drink. He had to start his what? Siyam again. All the way up to the following what? All the way up to the following evening after Maghrib. What happened as a result of it? That particular Sahabi that he passed out. Until Allah Ta'ala sent down the ayah, as we know and we'll discuss inshallah as it's going to come. عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَخْتَانُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَعَفَى عَنْكُمْ فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. The ayah where Allah Ta'ala says in the book, He knows that you want. عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَخْتَانُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. That you will find in that difficulty in your particular matters or your particular affairs. So what happened? As we know the story, what happened with Al-Khattab, that he felt being intimate with his wife after it became impermissible. And also likewise, what happened with what? With the other Sahabi. Allah Ta'ala then, after that, brought it to another marhala, to another stage. And the stage is what we know as now, as one breaks his fast after Maghrib, until he's able to eat and drink and be intimate with his spouse and indulge in all those matters that he takes delight in and that he enjoys, all the way up to what? To Fajr. So that was the 3 stages that we talked about last class. The first one is upon choice, as it went to for it as being easy, then it went to being very difficult, now it is what it is we know it to be today. طيب. That's what we discussed. And where's your book? You didn't bring your notebook? طيب. That's basically what we discussed in brief. طيب, before we get into the first hadith, if you look in your books, everyone, it says, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تقدموا رمضان بصوم يوم أو يومين إلا رجل كان يصوم صوما فليصم. وعن عمار بن ياسر قال من صام اليوم الذي يشك فيه فقد عصى أبا القاسم. ذكره البخاري تعليقا ووصله الخمسة وصححه ابن خزيمة وابن حبان. If you look at your books, then it says upon Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah said, do not precede Ramadan by fasting a day or 2 days, except a man that used to fast, his habitual fast, then let him what? Fast that particular fast. Right, before we get into the details, let me read the next. I'm sorry, everyone. Flip the page. Those who have notice on the same page in your books. The second hadith it says Ammar ibn Yasir that the one who fasts a day that has doubt in it, and we're going to explain it, then he has disobeyed Abu al-Qasim. And Imam al-Bukhari mentioned it ta'liqan, meaning without an isnad. And also the isnad was mentioned in al-Khamsa. Don't worry, we'll explain all that. وصححه ابن خزيمة وابن حبان. Ibn Khuzaymah said it is sahih, and it is correct. It is authentic. طيب. Before we enter into what we want to discuss today, brothers and sisters, we want to talk about what are the fasts that are prohibited. What are the type of fasts that are prohibited? What are the fasts that are prohibited? That's what we want to discuss first before we explain this hadith. طيب. The fasts that are prohibited, we'll talk about inshallah, based upon the poetry with the great Imam Al-Hafidh Al-Hakimi that he mentions. It says, وَجُمُعَةٌ وَالسَّبْتُ كُلَّ قَدْ نُهِي عَنْ صَوْمِهِ مُنْفَرِدًا عَنْ غَيْرِهِ كَذَاكَ يُنْهَى عَنْ صِيَامِ الدَّهْرِ سَرْدًا بِدُونِ فَصْلِهِ بِفِطْرِ كذا عن استقبال شهر الصوم بصومه يومين أو بيوم إلا إذا وافق يوما كان يعتاد صومه فلا نكرانا. طيب. So the first thing that we say about the fasts that are prohibited, there are certain fasts that are prohibited on certain days and in certain ways. The first fast that is prohibited is Jumu'ah. For one, not to fast on Yom al-Jumu'ah. If it's voluntary and if it's by itself. It's prohibited to fast Yom al-Jumu'ah if it's voluntary, and if it's by itself. Don't worry, we're going to explain inshallah. Now a person would say, what if Jumu'ah falls on a day that's prescribed for us to fast, like Yom Arafah? That is excluded. We're going to talk about that. Don't worry, inshallah. So Jumu'ah is prohibited. Don't worry, we're going to explain it. Saturday is prohibited. Not to fast this day of Saturday by itself. I'm going to get the details. Don't worry about it. You writing this down? All that's been prohibited. that a person that they fast those days by itself. There's other details, brothers and sisters, that we're going to mention. Don't worry. It's going to come. So Jumu'ah by itself, Saturday by itself, it's been prohibited. Patience. Also, it's been prohibited for one to fast what they call Siyam al-Dahr, patience. Siyam al-Dahr, the fasting of time, meaning continuously fasting one day after another day after another day after another without breaking it. Continuous fast without breaking it. Whether it be 2 days or 3 days or 4 days or 5 days or 6 days, that's prohibited. As we'll talk about inshallah, don't worry. What they call Siyam al-Dahr, sardan biduni faslihi bifitri. That you continue to fast continuously, consecutively, without breaking it. One day after another consecutive day after 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the end of it. Doesn't matter. It's prohibited. So nobody try to say like the Sufis do, we're doing it out of zuhd. As you'll find that it is a narration where the Messenger of Allah said, "La sama la wala aftar." The person who does that type of fast, he hasn't fasted nor did he break it. So you didn't have any reward. So you just basically just tortured yourself without any benefit. Right. So that's the third in which we're talking about. That it's prohibited to what? Fast that type of what? That type of fast. That's the third. So we have Jumu'ah, and then we have what? Saturday, and the third we have consecutive fasting. طيب. The fourth is istiqbal al-shahr as-sawm bi-sawmihi bi-yawmayni aw bi-yawmi. And that's what we're speaking about now. That one that he now prepares for Ramadan, or that Ramadan is about to start, or it's about to commence, and he does what they call sawmihi bi-yawmin aw yawmayn. That he fasts a day before Ramadan starts or 2 days out of, if they say, ala sabil al-ihtiyat, out of safety precaution or taking safety precautions measures, saying that maybe perhaps today is on Ramadan, so let me just fast just to be sure. That's prohibited, that fast. They call it fasting the day of doubt. That type of fast is prohibited. Don't worry, we're going to speak and give the details. It's going to come, inshallah. Like a person would say, day or 2 days before Ramadan start, let me just fast just to be sure. Just to be on the safe side, let me do it. On the safe side, let me fast a day or 2 days prior before the month starts. If a person does that, then what? That fast is what they call Siyam Yawm al-Shak. وهو محرم كما سنبين إن شاء الله. That's the Siyam of the day of doubt, which is impermissible, which we'll talk about inshallah. All this based upon proofs and evidences from the Kitab and Sunnah. طيب. We gave the exception though. There's an exception for that. For that particular what? Prohibition of fasting the day of doubt. There's an exception. Not for necessarily for the end of the month pertaining to what? One, fasting out of safety precautions measures for Ramadan, but for another reason. We'll talk about it inshallah. Don't worry. Also, it's been prohibited for one to fast on the 2 Eids. It's prohibited to fast on the Eidain, on the day of the Eid, Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Fitr. It's impermissible. And also what they call Ayyam al-Tashriq, fasting the days during the days of Hajj, after Yawm al-Nahr, after the day of slaughter, except for a certain specific reason, as we'll clarify inshallah. There's an exception to that too. Don't worry. So we want to start off by now talking about Jumu'ah. We're talking about Saturday. So everyone now generally has the days in which we're speaking about now. So you see how me talking about this matter right now is connected with the narration in your books. Right, everyone? So from what is mentioned in your books, it's speaking about Siyam Yawm al-Shak, fasting the day of doubt. Right? But we mentioned 2 other prohibitions before that, as we're going to clarify right now. Don't worry. So let's now get into the details. And it's been made unlawful and prohibited to specify these 2 days, which is Friday and Saturday, meaning individually, meaning just by itself. Just to fast Jumu'ah by itself. Or fast what? Saturday by itself. So what's the exception? There is an exception. The exception is this. That you fast a day either before it or a day after it. A day before Jumu'ah or a day after Jumu'ah. Which is Saturday, of course. So if you fast a day before it and a day after it, then there's no problem. So what is prohibited? Prohibited is what? Is that you do it or single out that particular day. Meaning that you fast Jumu'ah by itself or you fast Saturday by itself. If one was to now fast a day before it or a day after it, then there's no problem. Because we're going to bring the evidence as a proof. Don't worry. طيب. The second one is that a person that he fasts on these particular days and it correlates or coincides with a day that's how they recommend one fasting that particular day. For example, Yom Arafah. Yom Arafah. Or for example, what is it going? Astaghfirullah. Yom Ashura or Yom Ashura. Or the days of Yom Tasu'a or Yom Ashura. Or those days, for example, of and the Ashurul, or the months of, which is during the Ashurul Hurum, which is also from the time in which one should what? Fast, if he's able. The thing is that we're saying, I forgot to mention this first. And if it's an obligatory fast. If it's an obligatory fast, one can fast that day by itself. It doesn't matter. You could do a Jumu'ah, Saturday, it doesn't matter. If it's obligatory fast, that's fast on any day. Doesn't matter what it is. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So the exception is, let's just say Yom Arafah falls on Friday. Or Yom Arafah falls on Saturday. Do we say, no, it's prohibited, Yahi? You can't fast on Friday by itself or Saturday by itself. We said the exception is that it's not pertaining to those days that are highly recommended that one should fast. If it coincides with that particular day, which is either Saturday by itself or Friday by itself, one can fast, regardless. If it happened to fall on that particular day, or one of those 2 days. Or if it's an obligatory fast. If it's an obligatory fast, likewise, then one can fast it any day of the week. It doesn't matter. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if it's obligatory. If it's obligatory. Or that it happens to coincide with the days what they call Ayyam al-Bid. Ayyam al-Bid. What they call the white days. Certain people translate as the white nights. I don't know why. Ayyam al-Bid, some of them translate it as the white nights. Well, you would understand it to be the white days. The white days fall on the Hijri calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. Some of the Muslims that they count the white nights based upon, or the white days based upon the non-Muslim calendar. That's incorrect. You have to go by the Hijri calendar. The Hijri calendar, Ayyam al-Bid, is considered the what, everyone? 13th, 14th, 15th. That's Ayyam al-Bid from every month. That's also from the days that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ highly recommended that what? That one should fast. It's not obligatory, but it's what? Recommended. طيب. That's recommended. It's highly recommended. طيب. So Ayyam al-Bid is the 13th, the 14th, to the 15th of the Hijri calendar. If it happens to coincide on those days, likewise, it's no problem to fast Friday and Saturday or what have you. Or, for example, if a person wanted to fast this fast of Dawood, where he wanted to fast a day or break it a day, then fast another day, then break it another day. That's also what? Permissible. That's also from the exception to the rule here. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So what is prohibited, just to generalize and sum everything up and to make it concise, is that person just haphazardly want to just fast this particular day. On Saturday, I just want to fast. Is it Yom Ashura? Is it you're trying to do the fast of Dawood? Is it for example, are you going to do a day before or a day after it? No. I just want to do it just Saturday, just because it's Saturday. We say that type of fast is what? Impermissible. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So now let's get inside the evidences and proofs. There hasn't been rawah, hasn't been mentioned in the Shaykhan and the Bukhari. Who wants to call you there? Let me hold on for 1 second. Amir, do you want to call it or you want somebody else to call it? You want to call it? The other Amir's not out here. He's not here. Is it in? And I hate these commercials and all this. Put it on your book. It's 8:39. It just came in. It comes at 8:39. It just came in. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Shanu la ilaha illallah. Shanu la ilaha حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. الله أكبر الله أكبر. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمود الصيد الفضيل محمود الذي وعدته. طيب. What's the evidences and proofs? The evidence and proof which comes in Al-Bukhari and Muslim. But the Messenger of Allah said, لا يسمن أحدكم الجمعة لا يسمن أحدكم يوم الجمعة إلا يوما قبله أو يوما بعده. Do not let one of you fast on the day of Jumu'ah except, he gave an exception to Prophet ﷺ here, except a day before it or day after it. Except a day before it or day after it. طيب. Al-Imam al-Bukhari also made a, and when he put in the chapter in his book, he put Kitab al-Sawm, Bab Sawm Yawm al-Jumu'ah, فإذا أصبح الصائم يوم الجمعة فعليه أن يفطر. To the point where the Imam al-Bukhari even put, he said the fast of Yawm al-Jumu'ah by itself. If he comes upon a morning fasting on the day of Jumu'ah, it's upon him to break it. So فعليه يفطر. If he fasted by itself. We're talking about a voluntary fast, not a fast of what? It's an obligatory fast. And obligatory fast breaks down to other categories as we'll clarify later. A lot of people think the obligatory fast for Ramadan. It's not. It's not. There's other fasts that are obligatory, such as Yom al-Nadhr or Siyam al-Nadhr, when a person takes a vow. And then you have Siyam Ramadan, and then you have what they call Siyam Kaffara, the Siyam of expiation. Those are all obligatory. They're done any day of the week because they're what? It's obligatory. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? So like we said, the siyam of that which is obligatory breaks down to different categories of that. That comes later. Don't worry about it. I'm going to confuse everyone. طيب. So he said in regards to Jumu'ah, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ clearly mentioned and said here, do not let one of you fast the day of Jumu'ah except the day before or a day after. طيب. We also have another narration, Al-Bukhari, بسنده عن أبي أيوب عن جويرية بنت الحارث أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دخل عليها وهي صائمة في يوم الجمعة فقال لها أصمت أمس؟ فقالت لا. قال أتريدين أن تصومي غدا؟ قالت لا. قال فافطري إذن. فافطري إذن. which also has been mentioned in Bukhari, بِسَنَدِهِ عَنْ أَبِي أَيُّوبَ عَنْ جُوَيْرِيَةَ bint al-Harith, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu entered upon her, and she was fasting. On the day of Jumu'ah, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu said this: did you fast yesterday? Meaning when? Yom al-Khamis. It's Thursday. Did you fast yesterday? She said no. Do you want to fast tomorrow? Meaning when? Saturday. She said no. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu said, break your fast now. Or hence, break your fast. So it shows that she was doing a what? A voluntary fast. Right, everyone? So she didn't want to fast the day. She didn't fast the day before it, nor did she fast the day after. She made it clear. طيب. Also, it has been coming to Shaykhan upon Muhammad ibn Abbad قال سألت جابرا أنها النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن صوم يوم الجمعة قال نعم زاد غير أبي عاصم من أبو عاصم النبيل الإمام أن ينفرد بصوم أن ينفرد بصوم. There's another narration that's also been related in the Shaykhan, it's in Bukhari Muslim. He said, I asked Jabir, that Muhammad ibn Abbad, I asked Jabir ibn Abdullah, the great Sahabi, did the Messenger of Allah prohibit fasting the day of Jumu'ah? He said yes. He said yes. And the great Imam Abu Asim, his name is Nabil. Usually in Bukhari and Muslim, if you see Abu Asim, usually it's a Nabil, the great Imam. He said that, he mentioned and said, he gave some more details. Abu Asim and Nabil, he said that a person single out Yom al-Jumu'ah by itself. So he's talking about what? That a person just fasts Yom al-Jumu'ah alone. That is what is prohibited, especially if it's a voluntary fast. Other than the exceptions that we gave. The exceptions were what we mentioned previously, a couple of minutes ago. We mentioned the exceptions. Whether it be obligatory or whether it be one of the days where it's highly recommended to fast, Yom Ashura, or if you want to do a fast of Dawood, or to the end of it. Those are the exceptions to the actual what? To the actual qa'idah. طيب. All this is an indication to what, everyone? That is prohibited of singling out Yom al-Jumu'ah by itself, or its night by itself to fast. And especially Yom al-Jumu'ah, let's just say if it's the Eid of the Muslims. We don't know that's prohibited. We talked about that. I'm going to get into the details of that too. But anyway, the reason why, or for what the reason why it's been prohibited for that particular day, because we know that Yom al-Jumu'ah is what, everyone? That's considered al-Eid lil-Muslimin, wal-Eid al-Usbu'i. That's the weekly what? Eid for us. It's the weekly Eid. So it's not just the two Eid, but also Jumu'ah is considered what? It's considered an Eid. It's a weekly Eid to relax. To one to relax, and to one to what? Take advantage of utilizing his time of relaxing a bit. So we know that Jumu'ah is the Eid. So the fast by itself, of course, like we said, and to do it, he said perhaps, and the great Imam, Sheikh Zayd ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, we mentioned it, said, he says, بإحياء وجه الكراهة والله أعلم لأن يوم الجمعة عيد المسلمين وله فضل عظيم ويخشى أيضا أن يعظم فوق المشروع فقد نهى عن إفراد يومه بالصوم وليلته بالقيام. He said, well, Allah knows best of what was the reason why it was prohibited. He said, because it's the Eid for the Muslims and it has a tremendous virtue. As we know, the Eid has a tremendous virtue. From them is what? Is that Adam was created on this day. Or yesterday, technically. Yesterday, Fridays. Saturday is now. At any rate, Friday. Friday. Adam was created when, everyone? Friday. Also the day of resurrection and the day of reckoning where everything will commence on when? Friday. Which shows that it's also what? A virtuous day. It was a day of a lot of different virtuous affairs. He says, and maybe perhaps out of fear. He said that if one it was to fast on a particular day, that the people would magnify Friday above what has been legislated. The people will start doing affairs and doing things that are what? Above the level of what has been legislated, or in the boundaries of what has been legislated. And that's the reason why the Messenger of Allah prohibited that one single out Yom al-Jumu'ah by fasting or standing in the night in prayer. Is it clear what I'm saying? So due to these reasons, it's been prohibited that one fast on that particular day out of a voluntary fast or what have you, except for the exceptions. Right. person would say now, what about Yom Sabt on Saturday? That's another day we said it's been prohibited to what? To fast by itself. Yom Sabt. Yom Sabt is Saturday. It's also come in the prohibition of one fasting or singling out. Saturday with fast or fasting. This is the narration that comes in the authority of Abdullah ibn Bisr. عن أخته الصماء أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تصوموا يوم السبت إلا فيما افترضه الله عليكم فإن لم يجد أحدكم إلا لحاء أو لحاء عنبة أو عود شجرة فليمضغه. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned and said, do not fast on the day of Saturday. Then the Messenger of Allah gave the exception. Except that which is obligatory upon you. Except what Allah has made a duty upon you. فِيمَا افْتَرَضَهُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. Except what Allah has made a duty upon you. So that means that what? If a person right now, one of the Muslims say, I'm fasting today. You say it's an obligatory fast, voluntary fast, or you're going to fast the day before, the day after, or what have you. No, I just want to do a voluntary fast. Then what do we say? What do we say? It's permissible? Impermissible. But what if he says this is a fast for Ramadan I have to make up? Over Ramadan, that's easy. What if it's a day of Ramadan? That's easy. What if it's a day of Ramadan that I want to make up? I didn't fast in Ramadan. I want to make it up. أريد أن أقضي هذا اليوم من أيام رمضان ولكن أصومه يوم السبت. جائز وليس بجائز؟ جائز. It's permissible. It's permissible. For a person right now just say I wanted to make up my day that I missed Ramadan, it's Saturday by itself, and he wants to make it up. What do we say? Is it permissible or is it impermissible? It's permissible. Why? Because it's a what? It's obligatory fast. It's obligatory fast. Fast on Ramadan is obligatory. Jayid. So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, except what Allah has made obligatory upon you. And if one of you do not find a liha, anaba, or like a branch of a grape branch or what have you, a branch basically, or a stick of a tree, then let him bite on that to break his fast. So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ was saying here that what? The fasting on the day of Saturday by itself, except with the exceptions that we gave, is what? Impermissible. 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 Except for the exceptions that we gave. Let's just say, now let's give some more examples. Let's just say that Saturday fell for Yom Ashura. Yom Ashura. And the Saturday coincided, or Yom Ashura coincided with the day of Saturday. What do we say? You can't fast, Yahi, it's the day of Saturday. Huh? What would you say? It's not obligatory. Yom Ashura. Not talk about Ramadan. Yom Ashura. Huh? It's not? You can't? True. But let's just say a person fasts Yom Ashura. Well, technically on Yom Ashura, you should fast a day after opposing the Yahud, of course, no doubt. Well, let's just say, let me give a better example. Let's say Yom Arafah fell on a Saturday. Yeah. Yom Arafah. What if the day Yom Arafah fell on a Saturday? Can you fast or you cannot fast? Jayid, that is correct. Let's just say on the day Yom Arafah fell on a Saturday. You still would fast that day. You still can fast that day. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? I'm giving these examples, so if it happens, you know what to do. So if it was on a Saturday by itself, Yom Arafah, and we know that the people that's not on Hajj, that they should fast that particular what day. The Messenger of Allah highly recommended that person fast on the day Yom Arafah, right? Let's just say it fell on the Saturday by itself. Can a person fast? We say what? Yes. Let's let's just say Yom Arafah fell on a Friday. Fell on a what? Friday by itself. What do we say? Still can fast. J. Still can fast. Yes. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So don't try to use the prohibition. You can't pray, can't fast on Jumu'ah, even if it's Yom Arafah. There's no dalil for that. Still, the dalil is that there remains upon what the Messenger of Allah highly recommended. As we know, يقدم المبيح على الحاضر. That you get inside the qawaid fiqhiyah. That's what we're going to get into, inshallah, if we have the time. As we're going to talk about how, with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu here in this particular instance, we give precedence to what he gave and made permissible over what was prohibited here. It's prohibited here, as far as in regards to that particular what situation. But also the origin is, if you just wanted to do a voluntary fast out of nowhere, you cannot do that on Friday or Saturday alone by itself, meaning Friday by itself and Saturday by itself. Clear what I'm saying? طيب. The great Imam Abu Isa, Muhammad ibn Isa Tirmidhi, the great Imam, Sahib al-Sunan, or Sahib al-Jami'. Abu Isa, and we know Abu Isa's real name was who? Muhammad ibn Isa al-Tirmidhi. His name was just not Abu Isa, Sahib al-Jami'. But at any rate, he said about this hadith, about Saturday, he said this hadith is Hasan. ومعنى كراهته في هذا أن يخص الرجل يوم السبت بالصيام. Now listen to the reason of why it's been prohibited. Listen to this. A person would say, why did the Messenger of Allah prohibit just singling out Saturday without fasting? Ahsant. Out of resembling the Jews. Because we know that their day that they glorify is when, everyone? Saturday. Saturday. So out of fear of resemblance, because we know that the Messenger of Allah in so many instances he commanded his ummah to what? يأمرونهم بمخالفة أهل الكتاب يأمرونهم بمخالفة اليهود والنصارى معا في أشياء كثيرة جدا لا تعد ولا تحصى. And a lot of affairs, starting with the affairs of ibadah, which is the highest level. And للأسف, you tell to see that the Muslims resemble the Christians in that affair when they want to celebrate the Messenger of Allah's birthday. And that is one of the most highest affairs that are prohibited, especially to what? Imitate them in the most sacred of affairs, which is in affairs of worship. It's the most evil if a person resembles them in that regard. But here the Messenger of Allah said that the reason of why it's been prohibited, لأن اليهود تعظم يوم السبت فإذا كان صام قبله أو بعده زالت العلة فزالت الكراهة. So now the Yahud, they're the one that glorifies the day of Saturday. So if you fast the day before it or a day after it, then the reason why it's impermissible is what? Been lifted. And the prohibition has also been what? Lifted. Is it clear what I'm saying? Sure? Clear so far what I'm saying? Jayid. You sure? طيب. Also, what was the third fast we said? So now, the first, we gave the details on Jumu'ah. We gave the details on Saturday. Now we're going to give the details on consecutively fasting. That's the third. Siyam al-Dahr. Siyam al-Dahri is called consecutively fasting without what? Any break. One time after another day, after another day, after another day, after another day. We're going to talk about the exception that the Messenger of Allah did give a person an extended time, which doesn't come in Bukhari. I'm going to talk about it. Do not worry. Let's just say for a person came in Ramadan. This is just a side point. Don't write this down. That the Messenger of Allah prohibited that we break our fast to what? Maghrib. Right? There is one exception, which is mentioned in Bukhari. Prophet said, La tuwasilu. La tuwasilu. Don't continue your fast. فإن كان لابد فليواصل إلى السحر. And if he wants to continue, then he can only continue up to the time of Fajr. That's it. So ultimately you still have to what? Break your fast, regardless. Whether or not you wanted to break it during Maghrib, where the Messenger of Allah had highly recommended, rather he made it in certain instances wajib. But he said, La tuwasilu. Don't consecutively fast. Don't do it. فإن كان لابد أن يواصل فليواصل إلى السحر. And if he wants to continue with fast, let him do it up to the sahar. Waqt al-sahar, yani waqt al-fajr. Let him do it up to the time of the fajr that's coming. That's it. That's the maximum what? Limit. But however, the origin is to what? Break your fast for the time of what? Maghrib. This hadith is in Bukhari. So don't nobody try to argue with me. And I'll give the details later. It's going to come. Okay, everyone? Don't worry, I'll give it to you. It's going to come. Fine. So the third fast that we're talking about now is fasting what, everyone? Consecutively. Without breaking your fast. One day after another day after another day and after another day. It's prohibited that you do that. To the point where it says, the great Imam, Sheikh Zayd ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, Hafidhullah wa Ra'ah, Sheikh Zayd, وهي مجلس أنه قد جاء النهي في السنة الصريحة عن تعذيب النفس بصيام أيام الدهر سردا ما معنى سردا؟ يعني متوالية. ففي المسند والصحيحين عن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا صام من صام الأبد. لا صام من صام الأبد. He says, whoever fasts consecutively, he has not fasted. Whoever fasts the whole of time, meaning consecutively. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? طيب ولمسلم من حديث أبي قتادة بلفظ لا صام ولا أفطر. He didn't fast nor did he break it. So he got no reward. So this type of uslub, or this type of manner, or this way, or this context, or this type of speech for the message of Allah is more in depth as far as having an impact or one not doing this. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Not to do it. To show that the affair is very severe. Because one has to have what? To give gentleness to himself. And we'll talk about the reason why it's prohibited. He said one of the reasons why it's prohibited is because it's torturing your body. It's torturing your body. It's torture of the body, and it doesn't have one, or gives the one, it doesn't give the one enough ample or adequate energy to carry out his other daily affairs. Other affairs he has to carry out throughout his day. For number one, from those affairs is that which is from the regards to the rights of Allah. Then the rights of his own body. Then the rights of his family. And the rights in the rights of those who he has rights over him, meaning of his family. So if he's to do this, as a result of it, he will what? Be neglectful in all his other huquq, his other affairs and rights that he is to give to others. So that's a result of it. This affair has been what? Prohibited. Not to do it. Also, we have the prohibition that's going to come if you look at Buloogh Al-Maraam. If you look in your books, there's a narration that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ prohibited for a person not to practice what they call wisal. Naha Nabi sallallahu anil wisal. It's in your books. It's in there. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it. It's in your books. It's in there. The Messenger of Allah prohibited that a person consecutively fast what they call wisal. فقالوا يا رسول الله فإنك تواصل. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فأيكم مثلي. He said, فَإِنَّمَا يُطْعِمُنِي رَبِّي وَيَسْقِينِي. He said, O Messenger of Allah, you prohibited wisal, but you practice wisal. So the Messenger of Allah said, who and one of you amongst you are similar to me? Who can handle it? He said, verily, I come upon the day, or I come upon the morning, my Lord gives me food and drink. They're going to talk, and we're going to speak about that. That's going to come, inshallah. That's from the khasa'is, only for the Messenger of Allah. And we're going to talk about that. That was from his only characteristics that Allah gave him. No other human being has it. So none of the Sufis try to come and say, well, the wali so-and-so is above the level of the Messenger of Allah. He receives food and drink from Jannah. As we know, we call them goofy Sufis. And that name befits them. Truly and honestly. Goofy Sufis. Yes, they are. They truly are goofy. Their way of thinking is extremely weird. And their i'tiqad, their belief system shows that they're extremely weird. Weird people. If you study the whole foundation of Sufism, it is in total opposition to what the Messenger of Allah is about. It's like a different religion. It's like a different religion. The belief that Allah is one with the creation is one with Allah, that's something. Anyway, so let's keep going. So that type of siyam is what, everyone? That type of what's wrong? What was that? I'm sorry. I know. I said it's in there. I told you. You good. طيب. So we said that's the third siyam that's what? Prohibited. Right, everyone? Which is siyam of consecutively fasting without breaking it. That is what? It's prohibited. It's prohibited not to do that. It's prohibited. طيب. طيب, let's go to the next one, then we'll stop. So this is now what we're talking about now. The day of Yom HaShek. So that's within the hadith that we're speaking about right now. Here, right here on the authority of Abu Hurairah. About side benefit, everyone. What's Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu's real name? What's his real name? Jayyid. Abdurrahman ibn Sakhar ad-Dawsi. Ad-Dawsi. That's Abu Hurairah's real name. Abdurrahman ibn Sakhar ad-Dawsi. Abdurrahman ibn Sakhar ad-Dawsi. وأصلا كان من اليمن فهاجر إلى المدينة هو وأمه. For Abu Hurairah originally came from where, everyone? From Al-Yemen. He migrated with his mother, him and his mother. As we know, his mother also became Muslim. Abu Hurairah's mother, radiallahu anha. طيب. So Abu Hurairah's real name is what? Abdurrahman ibn Sakhar ad-Dawsi. Ad-Dawsi. So that's Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu. He mentioned and said, do not proceed or start or proceed Ramadan by fasting a day or 2 days, except a man that used to fast a specific habitual fast, then let him fast that one. طيب. So now this is pertaining to the fourth type of what? Fast that's prohibited, which is the fasting what they call Yom HaShek, or the day of doubt. So read the next author, the next narration in your book. Read it. When the authority Ammar ibn Yasir, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, قال من صام اليوم الذي يشك فيه فقد عصى أبا القاسم. ذكره البخاري تعليقا. So he said in the next narration is whoever fasts a day which has doubt in, then he has disobeyed Abu al-Qasim. Who's Abu al-Qasim? The Messenger of Allah ﷺ. He's disobeyed him. We know that this hadith له حكم الرافع يعني يأخذ حكم الحديث المرفوع إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. So this narration here is also what? Takes the ruling of a hadith of the Messenger of Allah. Why? Because the Sahabi here said he has disobeyed Abu al-Qasim. So it was a command for the Messenger of Allah not to fast the day of what? The day of doubt. Which is a day of fasting before Ramadan or a day before Ramadan. Or 1 day or 2 days before Ramadan. طيب. So now we're talking about here of one hastening and being hasty and fasting and taking security precautions. So let's just say to fast a day or 2 days, thinking that Ramadan is about to what? Start. So let me just out of precautionary measures, maybe it might come out that Ramadan started already, I'm already fasting, or I already did what I was supposed to do. We say that is what? Incorrect. As we're going to talk about, that the fast for Ramadan is only known by two affairs. We're going to discuss it, don't worry. Either by the ru'ya, by someone, by the actual what? Sighting. The actual sighting, or from completing what? 30 days. If it's cloudy and no one can see it, then the person just completes what? 30 days of the previous month of Sha'ban. Once the 30 days complete, you know definitely for sure you're supposed to start what? Ramadan. Then we're going to discuss that in detail, don't worry. But at any rate, what has been prohibited this type of fast, everyone, is that a person, he's hasty. Hasty in doing what? Fasting by a day or 2 days before the actual month of Ramadan commences. Doing it out of safety precaution. على سبيل الاحتياط. Doing it out of safety precaution. He says doing it in a manner that maybe perhaps it was from Ramadan. So that's the reason why we said it as what? It's prohibited. Notice that he gave an exception. The Messenger of Allah in the last part of the hadith, what? Istathna, alayhi salatu wasalam. What did he say? Illa rajulun, kana yusumu sawmahu falyasum. The person that he fasts, fast, and let him what? Let him fast that particular what? Fast. What are we talking about here? All of what you guys are saying is correct. Give me some more examples. All of what you are saying is correct. Here, I'm going to give you guys the key of this prohibition here, the miftah, or the illah. The illah here is, and this is just to make everything clear and concise so everybody will understand. So I'm going to make it difficult. The illah here is that you're fasting for the niyyah for Ramadan. Is it clear? As for your niyyah of what was your intention of what you habitually used to fast in Sha'ban, then you can do that. That's simple. And we're going to talk about the next hadith, don't worry, because I wanted to speak about this. This is very important. As fasting the month of Sha'ban, and how to fast the month of Sha'ban, and what the Messenger of Allah also mentioned when he said, فَإِذَا انْتَصَفَ الشَّعْبَانِ فَلَا تَصُومُوا هل هذا الحديث صحيح وليس بصحيح هذا نتركه للدرس القادم. Jay. That's what we're going to talk about now. The next hadith, which a Messenger of Allah said, if Sha'ban, it becomes in the middle part of Sha'ban, do not fast. Do not fast. إذا انتصف شهر الشعبان فلا تصوموا. If it fasts over the Sha'ban, if it becomes the middle day or the 15th after 15 days, don't fast. Is that connected with what we're speaking about now? It is somewhat connected. We'll leave that for next dars, inshallah. طيب. So we'll leave it here, inshallah, because we have to what? Pray. I want to press the people who want to pray. طيب. So keep a mark here. You guys think I was going to cover details? Well, I was going to cover a lot of details. Well, I have more to talk about. First of all, is that hadith authentic? Is it not authentic? We'll talk about it, inshallah. Any questions about the lesson? هل من سؤال أو استفسار فليتفضل بسؤاله. تفضلوا. من كان عنده سؤال تفضل. هذا هو السؤال صحيح أحسنت أصبت. Any other questions? Exactly. Either day before or day after. You mean before Jumu'ah or before Saturday? Doesn't matter. As long as it's the day after, day before, day after. It doesn't matter. You can even do Saturday. You can fast it along with Sunday. There's another narration, Nasa'i. When she's talking about Yom Sabt, that you can fast also Sunday along with Saturday. Just don't do it by itself. You understand? Jay. Tafadal. I had to start over again. You understood it exactly. I'm going to talk about the tafsir of it. I'm going to get into it. Don't worry. There's all Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir wrote about how the marahil of siyam, how it started. And how it started from being easy. You'll find that the ulama have mu'allafat, books that talk about how certain affairs in the religion, how it started from the hardest, or started from the easiest to moderate to hard. Or started from easy to hard, then to moderate in certain matters of the religion. From them, no, you're good. From them is, for example, Siyam. Siyam started off easy, difficult, then moderate, what we know now. Because that's very difficult. From what? From Fajr? From Isha all the way up till Maghrib the following day? Whoo! You imagine that was what we had to do every day? You said no? Some of the Sahaba couldn't do it. They couldn't tolerate it. The Sahaba, the greatest of creation, after the prophets and messengers, couldn't handle it. And Umar al-Khattab fell into being intimate with his wife. He even says in the narration, person say you laughing, but it's true. He said Umar al-Khattab, the Khalifa, Al-Rashid, the Messenger of Allah said he could command us to follow his sunnah. He even couldn't tolerate it. He was intimate with his family. People are human beings. That's the reason why, alhamdulillah, like we said, you find that the religion is, alhamdulillah, is real. It's real, and it shows that people are human beings. Tafadal. What was you about to say? I'm sorry. Say it again. And linguistically, and when we say linguistically meaning, linguistic meaning, how do you give a basic meaning for linguistic? Lughawi. Just the general meaning. The general meaning of fasting is just to abstain from. That's it. If you say siyam. But we're talking about the fasting that's in the religion. Fasting in the religion is to abstain from food and drink. Food and drink and the meaning of food and drink. But the general meaning, it just means to abstain. That's it. If you say the word siyam, siyam can mean just abstain or abstination, just generally. That's it comes in the Quran, talking about what happened with Maryam bint Imran. She said, "Inni nadartu lirrahmani sawma falan ukallima al-yawma insiya." Verily, I took a vow to Rahman to abstain from speech, so I won't speak to anyone. So it means that what? She used the linguistic meaning, not the meaning in the religion. She just used the linguistic meaning, or the general meaning. Hold on. Yeah, we was in a Muslim country. They were certain Muslim countries. They have two adhans. Approximately, depending on what country you're in. Not all of them are the same. Some is different times, depending on the time zone or what have you. But they'll call the first adhan 40 minutes before the actual time for Fajr comes in to give you a warning to wake up, prepare for your pre-dawn meal, to get ready to start your fast. So when the actual time for Fajr comes in, you'll be ready. Don't worry, we'll talk about it. Don't worry, it's going to come. Tafadal. Don't be hasty. That's a statue. Tafadal. Say it again. You mean just from some health benefits or something like that? I don't see nothing wrong with that. If it's just something mubah or natural. If you're not trying to do it to worship. Some natural benefits, I don't see anything wrong with that. If it's an ibadah, no. If it's an ibadah. Nope. Tafadal. While she's praying? Absolutely. Woman has to cover her feet up while she's praying. It doesn't matter whether she's out the house or in the house. If she's in the house, a woman has to cover her feet when she's praying. Only thing she can have exposed, of course, in the house while she's praying, is her face and her hands. Face and her hands can be exposed in her house while she's praying. That's not part of her awrah in the salah. In the salah, it's not part of her awrah. If a woman wants to pray in her house, she can have her feet and her face exposed. Not her feet. Her feet have to be covered. That's part of the awrah of a woman, is her feet. I'm sorry, everyone. أعوذ بالله. اختلط علي. هذا سبق اللسان. I'm sorry. I'm at hands and face, I meant to say. I'm sorry. That was من باب سبق اللسان. Face and hands, what? Have to be covered during the salah? It's the opposite. The feet have to be covered, but the face and the hands could be what? Exposed in the salah. Jayed? Anything else? طيب هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك